Good morning, everyone. This is Crypto and Coffee with the Trading Bros. I'm your host, Clutch Crypto.
And I'm B. Wellington.
Sorry we missed last week. I was out with the flu, but I'm feeling much better. So we're about to get back into the charts and see what's going on.
Oh man, glad to have you back, Clutch. We've missed you. The world has missed you. Look,
It was a rough week.
I can understand. Flu is never good. But look, are we in a bull market? Is this
Um,
the start? We this is the daily. Before we had talked about seeing some volume from the lows on the daily that obviously came in, broke through the 50. I've now broken through the 200 on the daily. We've got this next peak that's available here. We'll see if it surpasses that. But seeing that it surpassed all of these, I don't see it stopping until it gets up into these vector candles and kind of recovers these areas here. And so, this would be my next look at to see where it does. I'm not looking for any trades right now at this point in time, but I want to see how it reacts around in this area, and then when it gets up into here, then I'll start to look at kind of where we're at, kind of what the volume looks like when we get there. As you can see in these last few days, volume has started to decline. So even though we've got like we had that pump, yesterday doing Australia, trying the Asian session, overall, if you look at the volume, just not even for today, but over the last few days, it has been on decline as we've moved up. But that could always come back up. But we are moving up. We have this. This is the original daily trend line that we had off of this pattern here, which it broke through. And so I've just kept that up there, and we can see that we're kind of headed back into that same trend line there. And then we have this channel that is being created by this other redrawn daily for this older redrawn daily in this channel. That's basically beelining up into that area. On the hourly, same deal. If you look at that channel, we're at the top of that channel. And so if we do get a breakout, expect a vector that will break out not only through this channel, but also through this peak as well to get up into this area, which again is the trend line off of the daily, the older trend line off of the daily. So we'll just have to see what it looks like when we get there. EMAs are essentially pointing up, which they're pretty extended, which I would anticipate some type of retrace at some point, just from a mean reversion standpoint. But we'll see. Hopping down to the 5 minute kind of says the same thing. You're either going to play a breakout of this trend line, this channel that comes back up, and I would expect to see some volume comes in, or we could see somewhat of a recycle. If we then begin to retrace, I would imagine that we start to test the 200, 800 on some of the lower time frames, and not necessarily for a big draw down, but maybe just to give some breathing room, because we have been going up pretty substantially for the last couple of weeks. Really. When we start looking at Coin Analyze, we'll look at that in a second. Here's funding rates. I'll just refresh this.
No surprise there.
Everything looks positive, but this changes pretty often. So generally after a pump, you'll see this turn red, right? Everybody's trying to go short, and then they bust through that, and everybody closes out. The positive could be closing out shorts because they have to buy, which creates the positive as well. But we're again been going straight up. On the open interest, up to 7.7 billion. I think this was 7.4 billion last week. So picked up some OI there. So and I believe some of that, most of that's going to be long. Just looking at some other charts, we can see when we look at some of the other charts that are out there. Spot is in line with OI from this end, and so surprising you've had with this big move here, you did have some shorts that looks like shorts that closed, but then you had, folks that opened up positions. I mean, OI is just continue to build. From a market standpoint, we've got, market open, futures market open in about 6 minutes. Just taking a look at the refresh. Futures are, from a traditional finance standpoint, everything looks flat. Gold is a little bit down. Oil is starting to come down, but still, I mean, we've had oil over $100 for a while, and then BTC holding it at 1%. So we'll have to see what it looks like in the next, 6 minutes. Economic calendar wise, we've got a full week. A lot of comments, a lot of, end of quarter areas. We've got headlines up here: U.S. trade deficit in goods declines for first time in 3 months. Quits, all these things. So ADP employment, that's going to be huge. GDP, revisions and things of that nature, that's going to be huge. We've got, a lot of the presidents coming out and speaking from the Fed. Initial jobless claims, continuing jobless claims. PCE price index, real disposable income, real consumer spending. All of that is pretty positive. And even on Friday, payroll numbers, unemployment rate. I mean, just a lot of news, that's coming out. So you can look at that and say, oh, well, market is up. It can continue up if we get some good news that comes out. But if we've had some news, we could get a retrace. Some bad news, or what is taken as bad news, could get a retrace on all that as well. Again, I've been wrong for a couple weeks as far as the decline, but we're still not at the end of the quarter, and so we're gonna finish the quarter this week. A lot of news coming out. We'll see how the market reacts. Market's been reacting to negative information with positive price action, and so I'm waiting to hear some positive news so we can go down.
The bearish mentality lives on.
So that's all I got on my end. I got exo charts up here. We've still got, because we moved up so fast, and it's been on good volume but not great volume, and so your POC is still down at 26.23. So
So you think this is a false move type thing?
I think it is a bull trap, but the problem with it is that because of the war narrative, you've got so many people that are negative. Until people start putting some liquidity in the market, which you're starting to do, 7.7 billion in OI, that's when they're gonna take the money. And so it's just a matter of how much. I mean, we were looking at this on the top end. We were at all-time highs. I mean, OI was at 15 billion. A lot more. Yeah, everybody was going long. Everybody thought we were going to the moon. And they came and took all that money. So now we have this dynamic of the macro environment, which looks pretty negative. But last year we did have some negative days last year, but during COVID, in that not last year, but year 2020 in COVID, when everybody thought that things were going to go to the shit, Bitcoin performed, right? Went from 9,000-10,000 to 60,000, 70,000, and so
really pumped.
So we're kind of in that same environment of everybody thinks things are going to shit, and so let's see if there's enough interest in order to make that run again, but we'll see. My personal opinion is I think this is a bull trap. I think this is a relief bounce because everybody's negative sentiment that's out there. And I think as soon as the things really start to turn bullish, we'll start seeing some big retraces. But I think we'll get a retrace this week, just if I'm completely honest with you. So
no, I'm completely on board with that statement. So let's see what happens. Let's slide over to High Block Capital here real quick, and then we will take a look and see what all that looks like. High Block Capital here. This is the ETH chart. Can you see this?
Yeah, it's low.
We're reloading it real quick. As you can see, we're up here at the top of the range. But I mean, we've been at the top of this range for a few weeks. It just keeps inching its way up. So we have a key limited liquidation level of 8.6 billion. I mean, we're definitely getting up there on the high end of this. And so, how high will we go? I think we're in show for 3,500 ETH, to be honest with you, before we do see a retrace. Again, we were talking earlier before the show, we do have a CME gap as far as market close on Friday last week in the low 3,100 range. So, I would expect that we do pump up throughout this week and then maybe see some news here midweek and then, have a drop to come in and close that gap. But, we'll have to kind of see how that looks and how that plays out here, throughout the week. This is a book map here on eChart as well. As you can see, I did have to reset this chart. This is 40,000 CVD. Before I reset it, we were well over 100,000 into it, and that's just the length of the picture that you're looking at. So that was stuff that was accumulated for about a week and a half. So CBD is still way up there. As you can see on the ass side, we're still way up there. We're pumping pretty hard, and we're trying to get up here to this 3,400 range that it's inching closer to right now. And I think we're definitely going to get there. And then I want to see if we have some significant orders up here, right here at this 3,500 range. Yep, we should do 1,600. And yeah, I don't see us having any trouble getting up into the 3,500 range this week before the possibility of a pullback. Yeah, again, we're just gonna have to kind of play that by ear and kind of see what happens. So 3,500 is definitely an area to be looking at when we get up to that point. As far as orders below us, you can see we have a cluster here. That's only about 1,000 orders total. That's 436 total. Again, these orders are clusters with the hundreds. So if you see 436, you have times that by 100. See how many real orders are actually out here on this book map. And then again, we're not seeing a whole lot of areas, my opinion, down to the downside. Everything looks positive for the moment. So I anticipate we're going to keep moving up for at least another couple of days based on what this looks like.
Very good. Well, we'll be pumping for the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
It looks like.
That's what it looks like. Well, that's all we have for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Until next